Now, consumers are being warned against downloading music from a Russian website. The site, called All of MP3, provides cheaper downloads because it does not pay the artists. But the British record industry's trade body, the British Phonographic Institute, has warned that the website is illegal. Snow Patrol's new album, Eyes Open, can be downloaded from Apple's website, iTunes for example, for £7.99, but is only £1.84 on All of MP3. Pink's new album, I'm Not Dead, is also £7.99 on iTunes, but is just 87p from All of MP3. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers album Stadium Arcadium costs £14.99 on iTunes and £1.84 on the Russian website. Well, joining me now is Matt Phillips from the BPI. Well, what are they doing wrong?
Well, the problem is that this service doesn't have a licence to sell music to UK consumers, or indeed in Russia for that matter. And what they're able to do, of course, is they're able to undercut quite dramatically the legal operators, because of course they don't pay the artists or the record companies that are involved in creating the product. In the same way that, for instance, Amazon could easily be undercut if you chose not to pay the record companies or the book companies or any of your suppliers. So in fact, I'd like to take this opportunity now to announce that we are moving in the UK to take legal action against all of mp3.com because of the fact it's an illegal service.
Where will you take them to court? Here
well,
or in Russia?
I mean, I don't have too many details at the moment. All I can tell you now is that we are moving to take legal action against them.
You see, if you go to their website, I mean, there's a section on legality, and the big question, it says, is it legal to download music from all of mp3.com? And it says, yes, it has the necessary licence under Russian law.
Well, yes, that's what indeed they do say, but in fact those claims are false. They're certainly not licensed to sell music in Russia or anywhere else for that matter. I think it's very important that we understand that in the internet age it's extremely easy to infringe copyright and distribute music illegally.
Is it currently illegal to buy music off all of mp3.com?
Yes, it is. It is illegal in UK law to download from that service, and while there are provisions...
Well, even though it hasn't yet been ruled illegal in your case yet? I mean, you haven't brought your case. That's absolutely
right. That's absolutely right, because it infringes UK copyright law, and that's what protects our members, the record companies. I think in all of these cases of copyright infringement, we would always move, first of all, to tackle the problem at the source, and to tackle those that are making music available illegally.
Are they the only ones, or are there other similar services that claim to be legal that aren't?
Yeah, there are a number of other services, but this one is by far and away the best known, so we're pleased to be taking and being able to take action against them rather than the individuals who are using it illegally. OK,
well, we'll follow the case with interest. Matt Phillips, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
A delivery driver...
For the first time, the record industry has said tonight that it's OK to copy your own music. It's promised people they won't be sued for copying their favourite tracks onto their iPods and MP3 players. But the industry will still target those who pass tracks onto their friends and the pirates who copy for cash. Sky's Matt Smith reports.
It's always been something that the music industry's turned a blind eye to, but now it's saying it won't sue people who copy their own CDs. Every time you transfer music you already own to a computer or portable music player like an iPod, you're breaking the law, even if you've already paid for the original recording. And with some MP3 players now capable of holding up to 30,000 tracks at once, that's law-breaking on a large scale. But now the record industry is saying it doesn't mind home copying as long as people aren't trying to pass their music on.
When you've copied your music, but when you're making that available for millions of other people to download, now the net effect of that is that you create an enormous illegal online library of music that's completely unauthorised. And of course, when people are consuming that music, none of that money finds its way back to either the artist or the record company that have invested millions of pounds in creating those sound recordings.
Record industry bosses say they're still focused on bringing down illegal websites and music file sharers. So far, around 100 people in the UK have been sued in private prosecutions. The message is now, home copying is OK, as long as you keep it to yourself. Matt Smith, Sky News.
Well, you're watching Sky News.
Lawyers are warning music lovers to stay away from a cut-price download service which is based in Russia. All of mp3.com offers music tracks at a fraction of their usual price. Whole albums cost around £1, whereas the popular iTunes service charges 79 pence for a single track. But the firm says a loophole in Russian copyright laws allow it to undercut Western sites. But the BPI, the body which represents the British music industry, says it hasn't ruled out taking legal action against people who've broken copyright laws. Well, with me in the studio to explain more is Alice Gould. She's a partner at the law firm Wedlake Bell and a specialist in intellectual property rights. Thanks so much for coming in, Alice. This sounds complicated, but essentially thousands of us are logging onto this site and doing something that we probably shouldn't be doing.
Yes, that's right. It's a very, very popular site. It accounts for 14% of the downloads in the UK at the moment, so it's huge business.
And how is it that these people who are running the site seem to be able to exploit this loophole? Tell us a bit more.
Well, it's an international website. You log on, you pay your money, and the music comes down to you. They claim to have rights to give the music out and to pay fees to the agencies, but in fact that is not correct, and they have no rights to give the information to people in Russia or definitely not outside Russia. Now,
how serious is the music industry about prosecuting individuals like you and me who might download something, or how serious is it about tackling the company?
It's very serious about tackling the company. Firstly, they will always try and tackle the company, and attempts have been made in Germany and Italy and in the United States to tackle the company. But it's very difficult to do this, and in order sometimes to gain a bit of publicity, and probably out of sheer frustration, sometimes the rights holders do actually have to go after individuals.
And in the meantime, presumably another avenue open to them is to try and pressurise the Russian government to take some action on its own soil.
Yes, I believe that there are initiatives to deal with that happening at the moment.
Now, one of the things around issues like this in the internet, and particularly the music industry, because we've seen these kind of similar issues with Napster and things that came to a head and were resolved, is that people who are downloading think, well, who's it hurting? You know, these multi-million-pound rock stars, what does it matter? But you would say there are definite victims to this kind of crime.
Well, there are the rock stars themselves, which maybe we don't have too much sympathy for, but the record companies also promote new music and sort of new bands, and you know, they do need the money to do these things.
In the meantime, when we look at this whole issue of the internet and how we regulate it, this seems to be yet another example of how it's almost out of control. People can sort of get away with a lot because it's so spread around the world that an international ruling may not be able to touch these people depending on where they are.
Well, you see that, as you've said with Napster, you know, they did manage to close those down, and it's each one, there are rules and laws that will sort of come into force, and then it's a matter of making sure that they are actually adhered to.
And in the meantime, your advice would be to people logging onto these kind of sites, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
I think that's correct.
OK, Alice Gould from Wedlake Bell, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.